"You don't fit this neighborhood." That's what she yelled at me, voice slicing the air so sharp I half expected it to leave a mark, while her son circled my Impala with his phone filming like he'd caught Bigfoot in the wild. Picture this. I'd been here 6 months, worked weekends, lived on sandwiches for a year, just to get my hands on that '73 Chevy, my dream, right there in my driveway, and now suddenly I was public enemy number one, all because I had the nerve to want something nice. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a second. I grew up thinking suburban life meant peace kids on bikes, maybe the occasional overzealous lawnmower. Turns out it's also about HOA, bylaws, gossip patrols, and people like Marjorie Blake, queen of the clipboard, master of the smug smile, the kind that tells you she's already decided who's worthy of existing on her street. When she waved around that thick, official-looking folder, I knew this wasn't about a car. This was about power. What would you have said to her? I'll be honest, I was one smart remark away from blowing my whole new neighbor cover. So here's how it really went down. I'm 32 software engineer, and after a year of eating PB&J, skipping every splurge and working every overtime shift that came my way, I finally pulled the trigger on a 1973 Chevrolet Impala. Not just a car, a pristine midnight blue chrome on the fenders slice of American history. I tracked it down, negotiated, paid in cash, did every bit of paperwork by the book. Drove it home with the kind of pride you can't fake. That first Saturday, sun out, engine purring, I thought, man, I made it. 47 minutes later, I'm staring down Marjorie and her son Tyler, both looking at me like I'd parked a UFO in the driveway. Marjorie starts, "You're violating neighborhood standards." I just blinked. "I'm sorry. What standards?" And she goes on about consistent design, curb harmony, and how my car, my beautiful Impala, was a troubling lack of respect for our shared tone. Tyler, arms crossed, adds that he filed some pre-approval form claiming first rights to any classic car that lands in the neighborhood. I laughed at first. First rights? I bought this with my own savings from someone who doesn't even live here. Marjorie flips open her folder, pulls out a paper stamped Willowbrook Estates Community Standards Board. Real deal official seal, the whole 9 yards. It says Tyler pre-claim priority for any classic automotive acquisitions that enhance neighborhood prestige. I mean, is this a car or a historic monument? She lectures me about community harmony, visual landscape, and how my impulsive purchase was ruining Tyler's college graduation plans. She said impulsive like I'd picked up a rusty lawnmower at a garage sale, not poured a year of my life into this. I kept it together, said I followed every rule, and held up my title registration insurance. Not sure how coordination applies to private property, I said. Tyler rolls his eyes. That's exactly the kind of attitude that damages community cohesion. You know the tone, some people just don't get it. I was starting to recognize the pattern. This wasn't about rules. It was about keeping the neighborhood a certain way, and I didn't fit the picture. Marjorie rattles off HOA section numbers and hands me a covenant stuffed with addendums. I swear I'd never seen dense bureaucratic language about community aesthetic coordination and resident lifestyle compatibility. When did these even become rules? Policies adapt over time, she says. All residents are notified, maybe buried in those newsletters. I never read sandwiched between the trash schedule and bake sale announcements. Tyler's still circling my car, filming every angle for the board's assessment, as if we're in some kind of suburban court. I ask, what kind of corrective measures? Marjorie says fines, forced removal, even liens on your property. That word liens hits hard. I worked my whole adult life for this house. The idea that a nosy neighbor could threaten it, terrifying. So I push back. I want proof of authority, copies of every record and meeting notes. Marjorie blinks, a little less confident now. Submit a formal request. Allow 7 to 10 business days. Tyler pipes up, but the hearing can't wait. Neighborhood image is at stake. Translation, give us the car or else. That's when it clicked. Tyler wanted the Impala, and Marjorie was used to getting him what he wanted. The HOA rules, just a smokescreen, but I told them I'd be consulting my own attorney. Marjorie's smile sharpened. You have 72 hours hearing is Tuesday night, and as they left, Tyler called out, "Nice car. I'm going to take good care of it." My stomach sank. I stood in my driveway, Impala still gleaming, feeling the neighborhood shift. I was no longer just the guy with a cool car. I was the new villain in their HOA playbook. But what Marjorie and Tyler didn't realize was that I wasn't the type to just roll over. Monday morning, I did some recon, hit up the community center during their coffee social playing suburban dad with my newspaper in the corner. Sure enough, there's Marjorie surrounded by retirees whispering about dangerous changes and unwanted attention, all code for my car. She talks about how classic cars attract the wrong crowd, as if I was starting a drag racing ring. Then comes the twist. Tyler shows off a data presentation about car ownership and neighborhood safety. Impressive sounding, no real sources, just enough to make the group nervous. Mrs. Henderson, sweet lady with silver hair, actually asks if the HOA can protect them. Marjorie reassures her, painting herself as a martyr. The fear in the room is palpable. Now you'd think that was enough, but nope. By Tuesday, I'm getting the cold shoulder from neighbors. Waves turn to nods. Mrs. Patterson ducks inside the mailman, won't make eye contact. I get an anonymous letter about community aesthetics in my mailbox. Classic intimidation, right? Next up, digital warfare. My phone buzzes with violation notices from something called the Smart HOA Resident Portal, $50 for unauthorized parking configuration, then $75 for excessive reflection, even fake engine temperature warnings. Tyler's code all over it. I'm a software guy. I know a digital frame job when I see it. So I dig deeper. That Smart HOA app, total surveillance operation tracking finances, social media, even shopping habits. The kicker. The algorithm flags anyone who doesn't fit classic car owners' solar panels, families who speak Spanish in the yard. Tyler had built a harassment machine for his mom, and they'd used HOA dues to pay for it. I hacked in, traced it all, and found records of them selling resident data for profit. That was the moment I stopped playing defense. I rewrote the algorithm, turned it on. Tyler. Suddenly his late-night gaming was a noise violation, his food delivery, a traffic hazard, his own posts flagged for harassment. And Marjorie. The system now flagged her for predatory real estate practices. She'd been targeting minorities with lowball offers right after compliance pressure campaigns. Turns out the real crime wasn't about my car. It was about pushing out families who didn't fit her vision and cashing in. But the real turning point came from Janet Walsh, a board member I thought was just another puppet. She blew the whistle. None of the compliance proceedings were official. Marjorie had faked board approval, staged secret meetings, and spent HOA money on her son's tech upgrades. With Janet's folder of proof and support from other board members, we built a case for the FBI. Fast forward to the hearing standing room, only cameras everywhere, Marjorie still playing queen. But this time Janet stands up, point of order. This hearing isn't legitimate. 3 other board members back her up. Tyler tries to defend with his tablet, but I call him out, explain the surveillance, the data, selling the bias. The room erupts. Then the FBI steps forward, real agents, not some HOA henchmen. They lay out the investigation, civil rights violations, privacy breaches, municipal corruption. Deputy City Planner James Morrison, caught in the act, confesses he was on Marjorie's payroll to fast-track her fake violations. Then Mrs. Henderson stands, her voice trembling, not with age but with anger, and says Marjorie tried to scare her into selling below market. Others come forward too. Suddenly the whole scheme is out in the open. Marjorie and Tyler are escorted out. The HOA is overhauled on the spot. The Impala still mine. The next day, news crews cover it all, and a wave of reforms sweeps the state tougher. HOA laws, new transparency rules, tech restrictions. 6 months later, I sit in a federal courtroom watching Marjorie face the music fraud, racketeering, discrimination, the whole mess. Victims testify. Records are shown the judge lays down the law, 36 months in prison, $600,000 in restitution banned for life from real estate. The community is reborn. New board, new rules, no more surveillance, no more intimidation. Property values even go up. Funny thing, Tyler, the surveillance king, ends up running anti-bias workshops for HOA boards. Mrs. Henderson thanks me for not moving away. If you had, she says, none of us would have known the truth. Looking back, I realized this was never about my Impala. It was about drawing a line. Some people think power means permission. But justice doesn't happen by accident. It happens when someone refuses to stay quiet, even when it would be easier to just move away. So tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have fought back? How would you handle people who abuse their authority for profit? Drop a comment, share your thoughts, or just hit that thanks button. If you believe accountability still matters, because out here behind the white picket fences, sometimes the real battles are the ones you can't see from the street.